What's up, everybody? It's Eric, and tonight is something extremely different for my channel. There's some things that have been going on in the real world that have basically made it hard for me to come down here tonight and, do work on a parody or do something silly. The impetus for this commentary came to me last night. Was lying in bed with my iPhone watching YouTube and saw a video of the riots in the UK and was thinking to myself, like, this is insane. What is going on? And this comes a couple days after hearing that, the United States lost its AAA credit rating, which is a big deal, people. And my son was lying next to me asleep, and, he wasn't feeling good, so he slept with me and my wife last night. And, there's nothing sweeter than a sleeping child. And then I found myself really worried for him and for my daughter. And, before I started this commentary, I thought, you know what, Eric, don't go on YouTube and bum people out. That's not what people come here for. But then I thought, well, you know what? But they also don't seem to mind spending, a lot of time watching videos about YouTube drama and bots and favorites and all this sort of stuff. And I'm not discrediting anyone who does that, but I just felt like, you know what? I think this is something worth talking about, and this is something worth listening to. It's a big deal. And what I want to talk to you guys about is, I feel like there's a storm coming, and I feel like the world has some really unique challenges coming up soon. And these are challenges that the bulk of my audience, which are adolescents and people in their younger 20s, are going to bear the brunt of. You're going to have to figure it out. And every generation gets handed down, the bullshit and the mistakes of the generation before it. But I think you guys have it the toughest anyone has ever had it, honestly. And, this is because of some unique challenges that humanity, through its own progress, has created. And so that's what I want to talk to you guys about tonight. I sort of feel like modern society can draw really close comparisons to the late Roman Empire. And the reason I feel that way is, globalization is looked at as a new thing. And what globalization is the economies of the world have all meshed together to the point where they're inseparable, and they support each other and they affect each other. And what happens in Japan affects Britain, America, Brazil, everywhere. Okay, we're no longer isolated. And one of the problems that Rome faced was mini globalization. They basically integrated every territory they had into their own economy. And they started to become dependent upon the economies of their territories across the known world at the time. And as they prospered and their population grew, they needed more and more resources. And those resources needed to be transported in and across their empire. And this is the situation that the world is sort of in right now, where our growth is so exponential that our survival relies upon a perfectly working system of logistics and information and shared resources that pretty soon is going to be pretty tough to maintain without interruption. And the reasons for that are things like climate change and just the fact that we're using up the world's resources. Peak oil is a concept which says at some point, production of oil is going to go down. It's going to peak to where we hit, say, whatever million barrels a day. The next day, it's going to be a little bit lower and a little bit lower. And that is going to happen. Nobody knows exactly when. It might have already happened. Nobody really knows. But when it does happen, it is going to create a very real problem for the world, as you can imagine. Everything we do runs off of oil. Plastic is made from oil. Machines run on oil. Cars run on oil, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. Imagine a world without plastic, without machines. Nothing gets done, basically, right? So climate change and dwindling resources will actually work together. As you can imagine, it's going to be pretty hard to grow food with hostile weather, droughts, crops getting flooded, whatever, It doesn't have to just be global warming. Climate change is a whole host of different changes, rising sea level, blah, blah, blah. And that will actually cause some geographic problems. But getting back to Rome, one of the reasons that Rome fell was its reliance upon its perfectly working system. and it's spreading itself thin. Another thing that happened to Rome was diversification, social diversification. As they integrated more and more cultures into their own culture, it became harder to unify and control those people. They wanted freedom. They wanted to practice their own traditions and religions. And so trying to force everybody into the same mold became a very big problem. And that's starting to happen in many countries around the world. And we're starting to see some xenophobia in Europe. You see genocides in Africa. These are very real problems, and they're not going to go away. So here's one of the big questions. Why can't we get it right? What is the problem? Humans are by nature good, right? And yeah, I agree with that. But I also think that our drive to succeed and to progress is also connected with our aggressive nature. The reason that humans have done so well is because we started out with a singular need, which was to protect our family, to feed and protect them. As it became easier to do so, we started to work on improving the quality of the life of our family. And it's gotten to that's really gotten us to where we are today. It's gotten us into this reliance on technology that we have. It's gotten us into getting used to getting whatever kind of food we want when we want it. Those things could be taken away very, very quickly. But why, what's wrong? Like, what is it about humanity that we can't just work together and unify? Well, it's that aggressive nature. It's that competitive nature. It works against us. Progress, which has taken us where we are today, is also the same instinct that makes people try to control other people and try to take things from others so that they can have it on their own. So you, as the audience, you guys are the future leaders of the world. So I just want to sort of think and prepare you guys. Like, what can you guys do? What can we do as a society to figure this problem out and come together? And is it possible in the face of these challenges that are going to compound themselves on top of us? Can we turn it around? Or do we need to sort of adjust our expectations? Is this the end of the age of prosperity? Maybe. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. I've sort of always felt like wisdom is an idealist heart tempered by a pragmatic mind. We all know the way the world should be. We all know that everyone should be free. They should be able to be happy, and they shouldn't be controlled. But yet, all throughout human history, we've seen the exact opposite of that. We've seen people oppressed, controlled, dominated, taken for everything that, taken for granted, taken advantage of. Why is that? And again, I think it's just part of who we are as humans. And we're going to have to figure that out if we're going to get ourselves out of the big, big problems that we're currently in, and that I think we're starting to see come to a head. This financial stuff that's been going on isn't a new problem. The economy didn't just take a dump. It's always been bad. We've been punting, just like football, right? If you can't get that first down, you punt. You give up field position and you hope that next time you get the ball back, you'll do a better job and you'll get a first down. Well, our leaders across the world and in financial institutions have been doing that over and over and over again. And maybe we're sort of backed up against our own end zone this time. We did this TARP thing a few years ago when we had the big market crash, and that sort of bought us a couple years. And now, guess what? Knock, knock, it's back again. So what do we do about it? And can we do anything about it? All this funny money that we keep creating is just that. It's just paper. It doesn't create wealth. It doesn't create resources. It just buys us a little more time. I think we can all agree that corruption has always been a problem and continues to be a problem today. We just can't seem to shake it off of us. And, I think it's that need to succeed, and it's that need to do better that breeds corruption. And inevitably, you're going to have people in power who will take advantage of everyone else to further their own ends. And that's what we see in almost every government, in almost every society that has ever walked the earth. Great minds have always existed, and goodwill has always existed. And there's always been people who have tried to rise above the people in the world who are trying to take advantage of others. And I just wonder if some of these challenges that we've created are possibly going to create insurmountable odds against those people who want to do good. And basically what we need is more good people and less people who just want to take care of themselves. With a hostile climate and, shrinking resources and things like drinking water, guys, I can't even tell you. I think that in the next 10 to 20 years, just a simple thing like fresh, clean drinking water is going to become something that millions of people around the world are desperate for. And desperation can cause people to do terrible things. Now, anyone with a family will tell you, I will do whatever it takes to take care of my family. And that's what you see in some situations like rioting, where you say, how can people do some of these things? And, I don't think it's the case with what's happened in the UK. I think that's a lot of just opportunism. But when people are desperate, they will do anything to keep their family alive, to keep themselves alive. They'll do whatever it takes. So are we on the edge? What do we do? Again, the purpose of this commentary isn't to bum anyone out or be a downer or be a doomsayer. It's not. But at the same time, I do feel like we all need to wake up. We all need to realize that this isn't just another bad stretch of time. This is a turning point. And so if this commentary has made you think a little bit, please share it. Or at least, I don't know, talk to some people. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. And I don't want to get into debates about, what's caused this or what's caused that, or whether this is true or not. I don't think anyone can deny that the world's in a dark place and we're going down a dark path. And there's a lot of things that need to be changed. And I know we can't change all of them, but I'm sure we can change some of them. And so, yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for listening. And I'd really love to hear from you. And that's it, man. We'll talk to you soon.